doing? It is doing. Good. Perfect. Okay, well, since my stream health looks like it's robust and everything's good, like I'm in a different location right now. Like I'm not where I usually sit when I do streams. I'm in a different spot right now. I had to move all of my crap to our bench, which meant I have to clear off a space on the bench first, which took me like a chunk of time this morning. And then I set up all my streaming gear, and I have all my shapes here, and I'm ready to do kind of a complex assembly. Yeah? So I don't know if anyone knows this, but I've been working on this back rack of syringes for the past like 2 weeks now, and it's annoying because it's basically a bunch of smaller assemblies copied and pasted, but I have to lay them out in a way that looks nice, so it needs to be aesthetically pleasing, and then it also needs to not interfere with other parts that function that also mount on the same space on the back. And I guess that's like the hardest part, is the getting everything to mount onto the same plate and not interfere with one another. So I guess it's those two things, really. It's just a negotiation of function and form. So I've been going back and forth with this one main junction for the past 2 weeks now, among other things. But I finally got it into a form where I think it's starting to look like what I want it to, and I think it's gonna work. To tell you or show you what I'm talking about, I'll probably, here, let me open it up in CAD and show you real quick what I'm going to be assembling today. And then I'll dip my nose into chat and say hi to everybody. I'm just warming up. Mark's actually, he's off today, so he's in the garage out back, laser cutting a new mounting plate for me for this. So he's just doing that real quick because I don't know how to use that thing yet. Like, we just got it maybe 2 weeks ago. It's a new toy for him. Where am I? Here I am. Okay. Nope, that's not it. Always click the wrong one. Here we go. So this is the thing I'm going to be assembling today. It looks like wings. It's like this chicken wing thing. It kind of looks Egyptian. It looks like a Ra, the sun god, sun disk thing floating over a pair of hawk wings or something. Each one of these tuber things here is actually a syringe mounted to a rack and pinion assembly, and the rack and pinion actuates the plunger of the syringe. Tubes are going to be coming up off the top. They're going to be crisscrossing over one another in the middle and going to suckers on my neck. So this is part of that suck choker thing I'm making. And there's this mounting thing down here that's very mysterious, and I haven't actually talked about what this is for yet. This thing, it's for another augment, but it needed to mount here, and everything needed to fit around it without interfering. And that sun disk thing that pokes up on top is actually where the circuit board is going to mount, and I'm going to attach that secondarily with some structure to these mounting holes in the center here. But the important part is, if I turn this around, this flat part right here, this shape that I just highlighted in blue, that's the thing that Mark is laser cutting right now on a piece of masonite. And that will eventually be aluminum, but I want to make sure that I have all my holes in the right place and everything assembles and looks kosher before I even go down the path of cutting anything custom in aluminum at all. So that's eventually. But for now, masonite will do, and that's the thing. Alright, I'm gonna dip down into chat like I said I was gonna do. Hey guys, good morning. How is everybody doing? This mic feels awfully close. I don't know where else to put it. Okay. Hi Hamzawi. Thanks. I'm glad you like my crappy little bam bam that I've got going on there. I need a haircut, and until I get one, my bangs are kind of like arcing into my eyes. They're at that point where if I leave them loose and free, they literally just stab into my eyes, so they get put up in a bam bam until I remember to make a hair appointment with my hairstylist, and then it will get cropped to like here, like I usually wear it. And everyone hates that, but whatever. Hi James. Hi Eric. Hi Robin. Hi everybody. Hi RW Layer. The Red Angel from Star Trek Discovery. I actually haven't seen Star Trek Discovery. So I no, I'm gonna answer that with no. I think one of my inspirations, actually, to answer this question, since we were talking about inspirations, on my last stream I talked about 2D fighters, particularly one called BlazBlue, which is one that I used to play, oh god, back when I used to do 2D fighters, and I played as this character named Nu, and she was a little robot cyborg girl that fought with wings made out of floating blades, and she'd kind of like send them at her enemies from a distance, and there are these stabby robot knife things, and I think that that's probably in my subconscious somewhere, definitely, and I'm probably tapping that, channeling that. How are you guys doing? Like, it's Friday. It's supposed to rain again here. We've been getting a lot of rain here in Las Vegas, like a suspicious amount for the desert. Normally we don't get any rain until our monsoon season in the middle of the summer, but this whole spring, like since the beginning of the year, has been extremely wet for us. And it rained all night last night. It's still damp outside right now, and it's starting to cloud up again as I'm talking to you. Like, I don't know if you could see it get dark just now. But, that's exciting. I like rain, simply because we just don't really get a whole lot of weather here. Oh man. So, I have a lot to do before Mark comes back with that mounting plate for me, so I'm gonna probably get started on that. Stream health looks good, which is good. I've been having issues with that lately. Let's see, let me, just to show you what I mentioned, I hate mentioning things, like citing things and then not giving a visual example of what I'm talking about. So I'm going to the Google right now. Uh-oh, don't freeze on me. And let me get a good picture of the thing, this character that I used to play as. Now, this wasn't what I was thinking of when I started designing this, but I think maybe like 2 weeks into the design, I was looking at it one day and it clicked in my mind that there are similarities, and my subconscious was probably keying in on this. So, there we go. Oh, that's not the right one again. Or is it? Nope. Ah, there we go. So, the character I just mentioned, this is her. Her name is Nu. But she's a little robot cyborg girl, and she has these floating blades that sort of float around her back, and she dispatches them on command. Any better pictures? Kind of like this. It's a fun game. I think if there's anything I miss about my youth, it's playing 2D fighters with my friends on weekends while drinking beer. But anyhow, such as it is. I'm going to start assembling this thing, and I'm going to switch back down to my bench view. Oh, James just asked if the little flies are done. I think during my last stream, our house was in the middle of being attacked, or I guess inhabited by... Nope, there we go. These little gnats. They are gone now. They lasted maybe 2 or 3 days after that last stream that I did, and then they finally died off. Or died out. I think, because they just sort of stopped. It's like as soon as they came, they sort of ravaged the front door for maybe 5-6 days, and then they were gone. And then I have since like washed all of the blankets and sheets in the bed and vacuumed the area around where I sleep like 100 times, just to make sure that I get all the little bug bodies out of my life. Creepy crawlies. So anyhow, I have one of these assemblies built, which I can kind of stick where I'm gonna stick this. Right here in your field of view so you can see it. I guess right there is good. So this is one completed assembly, and I think it's technically the left wing, the wing on my personal left shoulder blade. And I guess these are wings now. The bottom looks kind of like a wing, and this adapts directly to that plate that Mark is cutting right now in the garage. I'm going to be pulling these smaller syringe assemblies off of the other style of rack that I have, which is one that goes straight up and down. I can actually do that right now and show you what I mean. That's this guy right here. Oh god, that's so close. Here. So I need to actually pull this off of the first mounting plate, this guy right here. I cut this last week at some point, and it has since kind of evolved or progressed as things do. Like I've made changes to it and moved holes around as the stuff that mounts onto it has also changed and evolved, so it's time again to print or cut another one and do development on it. Does anybody have fun plans for the weekend? Like, I don't know if there's any holidays or anything going on right now in other parts of the world. I don't think there's anything exciting going on here in the US. We had a Cinco de Mayo last Sunday, I know. But I don't think there's anything fancy going on this weekend. It's just, I guess, the lead into summer. I think my goal for the end of May is to have this, because this thing that I'm working on right now, this syringe bank, is actually part of the Shibon augment for the neck, called the suck choker, or what I honestly don't have a name for it yet, but it's tentatively being referred to as the suck choker, because that's what it does. I want to get that finished by the end of the month. And there's that plate, that vanilla plate. And these are the things that hook over the shoulder. So I wear that over my shoulder, kind of like a backpack strap. And then the assembly mounts on the opposite side. But I wish to have this done by the end of the month and documented, and that goes for another augment that I'm working on in tandem with this that I haven't actually been talking a whole lot about for the head, because it kind of overlaps this augment, and I don't think I've really announced anything about it at all on Twitter or anything, but I think that's primarily because it's going to function mostly in software, and that's something that isn't very exciting. So I think once I get it to a point where it's working, I'll divulge a little bit more, but for the time being, just know that there's another secret Shibon augment that's being made behind closed doors. But this Mark's effectively printing a more wing-like version of this. I said printing. Cutting. So he's, as of right now, the only one who knows how to use the laser cutter. I'll have him walk me through it eventually, but I know he's gonna run in there and cut this real quick and then head out the door to get fixings for tonight's celebration. Oh, here. So Friday, we celebrate Friday here. I have a couple friends come over every Friday and we cook something. That goes here. And we usually watch movies or play video games or sit in a kiddie pool. We do something to celebrate the end of the week. Let's go like that. That's on this side. Okay, so right now, to give you a bit of a comparison, although I guess this wasn't for you guys, go like this. These were the two different styles that I was trying to decide between. I'm gonna shut my camera off real quick so you can see what I mean. There is this one right here, and this was the first one I designed. It's a more up and down, just parallel, very vanilla layout. Everything's just sort of offset, I think, upward by a couple millimeters, I think 10. And it's just a nice filed line and a diagonal, and this was gonna just sit on the shoulder blade and then be mirrored on the opposite side. And if I flip that upwards, you can see that there's nothing, no funky angles going on. All of these mounting, these are just literally just standoffs. All of the standoffs meet on the mounting plate at a 90-degree angle. There's nothing really complicated about them. It's kind of the fastest, easiest thing I could do to get it built. And then once I did, I realized I could do angles and exotic, like, twists and turns, because in CAD, in a virtual space, you can do anything, and then this thing was born. So they're not only rotated on one axis, they're rotated on two different axes. And if I flip this around, you can kind of see what I mean. Each of those printed standoffs, these kind of buttresses, hold the individual assemblies at different angles. I think both on the X and the Y axis. So, yeah. Sorry, I don't have a lot of space to kind of maneuver this around underneath the camera, but it's a lot more dynamic. And I think the general consensus, I asked everybody on all of my social channels what they thought, and the mass opinion was that they liked this one. And I think stylistically everyone kind of agreed that the more wing-like assembly was very, like, anime, Big Mech Robot-ish. And this was kind of Art Deco, or Art Nouveau. It had this very Rocket Man or Rocketeer jetpack sort of aesthetic to it. And while I really like this one, and I think in my heart I still, from a design standpoint, like the form and order of the straight up and down kind of vanilla version of this assembly, I'm gonna go with the more dynamic one just to see how far I can push the design. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do right now is take these 4 individual syringe assemblies off of the standoffs. So I'm going to separate them from this mounting plate down here, and I'm going to put them on the wing mounting plate along with these fancy standoffs that I printed. Now these things hold each of the syringe assemblies at the correct angle, and I guess yaw or tilt or whatever you want to call it, so that they all kind of hover in midair at the right position so that they look nice and don't collide with one another. And that was a 12-hour print to get all of these guys made. So if I lay them out to show you what I mean, there's kind of a nice diminishing form and order to these guys. You can see what I mean? So each one of these holds one of these syringe assemblies and does its thing. But this tallest one, I think my printer was printing this well into the night, but it turned out pretty nice. And since I don't have hardware to actually skewer the mounting plate to the assembly, you know, go through all 3 layers, as if you will, I actually have threaded standoffs that fit inside of holes here. And my hardware will go through the top and the bottom of those threaded standoffs that kind of fit inside of these holes. So these 2 longer ones require that. And that way I can use 2 pieces of hardware per, per hole, I guess. Two shorter pieces of hardware, one to come in from the top and one to come in from the bottom, instead of just one going all the way through from top to bottom. Hope that made sense. I'll probably explain it again. But when I stand them up, put these on camera a little bit better, they do something like this. You can probably get a feel for their function. Oop, my bad. If I put them there as such. Bluestone asked if it's an augment or a cosplay. It's an augment. I don't do cosplay yet. I am making this for a wearable art project called Shiban, and this is I guess Shiban, it's a series of augments. The augments address particular discrete parts of the body, and this one is particularly for the neck. Where did I go? Here I am. But yeah. Hopefully you guys are having a good Friday. I know my weekend is going to suck a little bit, no pun intended. Not because of this suck thing that I'm making, but I'm funny. I'm probably going to end up in quick care at some point this weekend. Fun fact about me that no one probably needs to know, but this is just an idea of the shittiness I'm gonna have to go through in the near future. I don't have tear ducts. Like, I was born without them, or partially formed tear ducts. In any case, like, they don't actually function. They're just these shitty, underdeveloped pockets inside my face, right? And every couple of years, I get a little bit of bacteria finds its way up inside of the sinus cavity underneath my eye, and it explodes, and it becomes this massive infection that if I don't go to the doctor and get strong antibiotics to kick its ass real fast, my whole side of my face will end up swelling up like a balloon, and it's really painful. But this has been happening my whole life. Every 2-3 years it'll happen. And I know what the pain feels like leading into that sort of, I guess, sinus infection. And I'm like getting that feeling again, like underneath my eye. So even though I'm not really symptomatic of it, like you can't really tell quite yet that my face is starting to swell up, but I can feel the tightness underneath my eye. So I know that in another day or so, it's going to start becoming a problem, and I'm gonna end up seeing a doctor to get my antibiotics. What was I doing? Oh yeah, so I'm gonna start just taking hardware out and ripping this thing apart. Hi, Polis Squalus. Where is the neck augment actually going to sit on your body? To answer your question, Kaisela, the neck augment, the functioning part, or dial that back. There's 2 parts to it. There's the part that is going to actually suck my neck or stimulate the neck which involves an actual necklace or choker that's holds a bunch of suckers in place. That's actually going to be worn on the neck as kind of like an ornamental thing. The thing that I'm working on right now is the functional side of the augment, and it's going to provide the suction using these individual little, I guess, syringe assemblies that have a rack and pinion, and they pull the plungers in and out, and it's going to hold the microcontroller and all the functioning bits, and that's actually going to be mounted on the back. So this wing thing that I'm creating right now is going to sit on the top of the back, and the tubes are going to come off of the ends of the syringes, or the tubes, like silicone tubing, I guess, kind of like a pneumatic system. I have silicone tube over there somewhere, that's why I'm looking at it. But I'm going to connect tubing up to the end of the syringes, and it's going to pipe into each one of the individual suckers. So it's like 2 parts. I probably didn't mention any of this at the beginning of the stream, and I apologize for that. Bad Sarah. And this is really long hardware that's going into all of these. So I think tonight we are having tacos, and we are watching Joe Bob's last drive-in marathon on Shudder, which is our Friday tradition now. I have one of my closer friends comes over after work now, since he works weekends and Friday is no longer his Friday. We kind of shortened our usual Friday shenanigans to just watching Joe Bob's double feature, which if you like horror movies and you don't know what I'm talking about, I highly suggest checking it out. So I'm detaching the lighting is kind of bad. I apologize. There we go. I'm going to detach this portion from here up to, or I'm going to detach that from the standoffs. But to do that, I have to loosen the motor a little bit. At least they're not doing construction today. That's like another big part of my life these days is, we've had construction directly next door, and they've been jackhammering pretty much outside my window for like 2 weeks now, on and off. And yesterday they were at it all day. They're banging on something right now. And I have no idea if my cameras can pick it up. I'm pretty sure they can. So I just haven't been able to film pretty much anything lately. I don't know, can you guys hear the banging? Probably not. Maybe. Everywhere construction. How are you doing, Polis Squalus? How are all of you guys doing? Neck sucking. There we go. So these assemblies mount onto this little blade piece right here. And this is kind of the adapter that, this is the thing that kind of carries the tilt and the angle. I'm gonna need to detach that as well. So before I get ahead of myself and start mounting the standoffs to the individual syringe assemblies, I was kind of hoping to get that plate in from the garage, the one that Mark's cutting for me right now, so that I can mount these bigger wing pieces to that first, because I realized that they're very difficult to attach after there's a bunch of stuff sticking up and off of them. I have to do some serious finger limbo to get hardware in the right position to connect, and it's not impossible, but it's not pleasant. And I think I've gotten a lot better about making assemblies that are in fact easier to assemble over the years, but I'm not an expert still, so I don't know what I'm doing. So it is quite common that even with my best intentions, I make stuff that is hell to put together. I think we all go through that, though. We all have that same problem, I'm sure. I don't hear anything at all, actually. Good, except for some very light that I can't tell the camera shaking or... While working on my last term paper on protozoic. What? Algal kerogens. That's awesome. Cool. I miss school, kind of. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what aspect I miss of it, but I miss it. Hopefully you find some time to relax. Oh. I don't know if the microphone is the microphone picking up any weird feedback? It's kind of in a weird position right now. It's like right here, which is a lot closer than it normally is, so I don't know if the sound is actually better or worse. My laptop is noisy as hell when I'm streaming, because it kicks the fans on and my computer probably is operating as loudly as it possibly can. Right. Sorry, don't mean to undo this off camera. So that big chunky piece that's going in between these two assemblies is actually going to hold a big mechanical arm. As crazy as that sounds. So that part is going to be printed in PET so that it's a little bit more robust than just your run-of-the-mill PLA. And there needs to be some clearance above it. That's why that sun disk piece that holds the circuit board that I showed you in the CAD a little bit earlier is so much higher above that main mounting plate on the back. It's so that that mechanical arm doesn't interfere with the connectors that are going to be coming up and off of that circuit board. I streamed quite a while ago laying that board out. It's called the taco. It actually looks kind of like a taco shape. And Mark just got notification last night that they shipped. The boards did ship like midnight last night. So with any luck they'll be here. I'm hoping by Monday, but realistically sometime next week my taco and calamari boards are going to come in, and hopefully my face is healed up enough that I can shoot some proper video demoing the system. But in any case, I'll definitely do a bench test showing the system doing what it does, because I'm really eager to see this whole thing work all at the same time. I think from here, eventually, like after I get this first proof of concept, which is really all this is just one first proof of concept. Once I get it finished, I think if I did a second revision of the hickey giving choker, I'd probably use torquier motors and probably bigger syringes just to see how much of a hickey I can give myself. And even though hickeys aren't really the goal, I'm curious if I can give myself an actual hickey using this device. It wouldn't go. Oh no.
Oh, it got through.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Oh, here, let me switch over to the... Wait, look. Hold it up again. That's it. Looks nice.
It took a few passes, but it cut through. It just almost... It's in breakaway mode.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it wouldn't...
It wouldn't
For
go
whatever
all the
reason,
way
the
through.
stuff would not laze through after about 5 tries. So.
Damn.
But it's good enough for you to poke all the holes out.
Yeah. Thank you. I was hoping that it wasn't like catching fire or anything.
Nah, I don't run it high and fast like that, because that's how you make fires. So I'm taking my time.
That's how you make fires.
Making fires. Come on.
Oh god. Ooh.
There's your piece.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My wing piece.
Your piece is there.
Yay.
So
Now I gotta jam something sharp in.
Yeah, I would just go through the backside there. You can see the holes.
Yeah.
You just poke them out one by one.
Feel. That smells like a lovely campfire.
Yes, it's the best smell ever. I wrote the settings down, so if I have to do it again.
Cut masonite. Bloop.
Look like you're having fun.
Oh yes. The most fun. I'm just trying to get this old one disassembled. This thing. I got 2 off, 2 to go. I'm gonna take this stinky thing and put it here with the old one. Whew. Smells like camping.
My chores now.
Where are you going?
I'm gonna go get food at the store. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you wanna get fruit?
What kind of fruit do you want? You want the pineapple.
Either pineapple, berries.
What are you gonna do with
something.
said fruit?
I'm gonna eat it straight
Straight up.
up. Eat it.
You can get the blueberries.
You totally get
Want
blueberries.
blueberries?
Yes.
I'm gonna clean up blueberries.
That sounds
All right.
yummy. Yay. Get bloopers. Bloopers. That is so charred. It's gonna be fun poking the holes out of that. Woo! Oh well. At least I can do this. Oh god. There. Taking stuff apart is so fun. I was tempted to just buy 4 more motors and reprint the parts for the assemblies and just build more of them. For some reason, making an assembly is far more exciting than disassembling an assembly or like harvesting parts out of an old one. Taking stuff apart bores me amazingly. Oh god. But yeah, yeah, my face is starting to hurt. Which sucks. Yeah, it's one of those fun things that I've had to go through so many times in my life The only thing that sucks is I usually end up going to a quick care and I have to re-explain to whoever my doctor is what the deal is with me coming there. And the thing that sucks is if I go, like, I usually feel that it's happening days before I start showing any swelling on my face. But if I go to a doctor and try to explain to them that I have this infection in my sinus, they don't take me seriously because they can't, like, physically see that there's anything wrong. So they won't give me antibiotics that are strong enough, or they won't do anything at all. And I actually found that I have to wait until I am symptomatic enough that it's excruciating as hell before they'll do anything that's worthwhile. And I hate that, but that is the way that it is. And I guess there's some surgery that I could have done where they artificially add shunts from the inside of my eyes, like if you pull your eyelid down and look at that piece of flesh that like runs along the bottom of your eyeball, they actually jam a piece of like biocompatible shunt from the inside of your eye down into like your sinus cavity, which I'm told or I've heard will potentially solve the problem that I'm having right now, because it will allow bacteria basically to have, I don't know, like my body can flush it out, I guess, because right now it seems like it's just sort of trapped in there. But I don't know, it's a surgery. My insurance probably doesn't cover it. So I just get to suffer. Yeah, suffering. So I'm thinking tomorrow, like, I keep like shoving my face in the camera, but like, I can see it like in the bathroom, like if I tilt my head back and try to look down my nose into the mirror, my field of view hits my cheek, which means that my sinus, or the area directly above my sinus, is swollen enough that it's noticeable. And I'm thinking that tomorrow it'll be probably twice as much as it is today, and they'll do something about it. But that means I have to spend a whole day, oh god, in the quick care waiting room, which I don't know if any of you guys have done that. It seems to be like the it's an American form of healthcare, impromptu healthcare. And then the last time I went and did it, the doctor didn't diagnose what I was telling her correctly. I don't think she was actually listening to me, so she discharged me to the actual emergency room of the hospital with a misdiagnosis. And I ended up waiting there for another 2 hours to get seen, just for them to tell me, oh yeah, she didn't know what she was talking about. This is what you actually need. And I was like, ah yes, that is what I told her. And she did not actually give a shit what I told her. Which literally ate up like an entire day from like morning until dark, just trying to get that sorted out. Meanwhile, I was like in excruciating fucking pain. I have so many complaint stories about our healthcare system. I mean, I think every American does these days, but I have like personal stories that are like infuriating, so I don't want this to turn into a venting session. So I'll leave it at that. But tomorrow, just know that that's what I'm going to be doing. And then I'm going to be on antibiotics for 2 weeks, which this is the terrifying thing, is that means I'm not going to be drinking beer or any other type of alcohol for 2 weeks. And that makes me sound like a bleeding alcoholic. But the reality of it is, at 5 o'clock, I enjoy having my beer. I stand outside with Mark, we watch the sunset, and I relax, and that's part of my evening ritual. Alright, they've been detached, yes. Alright, this is the old mounting plate. I can discard this now. Probably over here. And I'm going to address these 4 things. So this is what an individual syringe assembly looks like. There's 4. But yeah, I'm gonna be missing my beer. I hate it. And I try to be really, oh, I gotta grab a tool real quick to clean the crap out of those holes. I know my parents will still drink while they're on antibiotics, which I know is supposed to diminish their effect or something. I know you're not supposed to necessarily drink while you're on them. No one I know actually does that. Like, everyone I know is horrible at doing what they're supposed to recover well, but I try to be diligent with the whole not drinking while I'm on an antibiotic thing. It just sucks, because again, a lot of our social rituals do involve drinking beer or wine or mixing drinks. But I think before I had my residency at ISA 2 years ago, I had this same thing happen. And I remember for 2 weeks leading up to when I left, I would just drink soda, which is something I also don't do ever. Like, I just don't drink soda. But I like soda. It's one of those guilty pleasure type things. So in lieu of drinking a beer at 5 o'clock, I went to the grocery store and bought a whole bunch of the Mexican Coca-Cola, which is kind of a popular thing here in Las Vegas, probably in the mid or the Southwest in general. Mexican Coca-Cola comes in a bottle, and I think they use cane sugar, not that shitty corn syrup stuff that makes everything taste like bleh. And they're tasty. It's a treat. Like, it reminds me the way that cola drinks used to taste when I was a kid. Makes me sound old. But when I was a kid, I think Coca-Cola and many other things tasted significantly different, so it was a treat to have a 5 o'clock pop, as we call it in the Midwest, instead of a beer. So if it does come to pass that I end up on medication starting tomorrow, I think the first thing I'm going to do is run to the grocery store and get myself some sort of, like, alternative treat drink. Oh man, this is where it gets hard. So since these standoffs are at really weird angles, this means that the hardware that gets fed into them they're all different lengths. Each one of these is going to be slightly different by like 2 millimeters. And the reason for that is they need to come out the back kind of with only a few millimeters to spare, because they need to kind of, they can't extend past this face, because this is the face that's going to be mounted up against that faceplate that Mark just brought in here. So they kind of need to be exact. I was able to get them pretty close, although a few of them on this assembly kind of clip up past that face. You can kind of see them poking out there. Probably just barely. It's not by much. I think that will actually just gore into the masonite and make its own hole, which is fine for this. I just don't know what sizes those pieces of hardware are. I'm gonna have to guess again. Now there is an order of operations for this. I have to do the lowest one first, which is I think that's the one on the end here. So if I put these next to one another, that's this guy. So this one goes on first, and that is, I said, the lowest So that's this standoff right here. So it's gonna mount right there. But before I do that, I said I was gonna mount this guy in some capacity to this mounting plate first, because I mentioned a little bit earlier that to put the syringes on the standoffs on this guy first and then try to stick it on here, it's kind of a pain in the butt, right? So I'm gonna, fuck, this smells. I'm gonna try and poke those holes out real quick. I don't know how easy they're going to be to dislodge. Oh yeah, they're easy. Okay. Okay, good, good, good. Well, that's a relief. We could buy a Coke nor Pepsi. Would one believe that? What? You couldn't buy a Coke or Pepsi? Where are you from in the world? Just curious. Or being forced to pay for medical care is such a barbaric idea. So glad I don't live in the USA. I would be scared of simply getting ill. Yes. Living here is awful right now. But I don't have really a choice right now. I don't have money to move. I think if I could, I definitely would. I would get the hell out of here. Because it wasn't so bad when I was a kid, but the moment that I became, I guess, a functioning adult, I want to say when I turned 20, the economy tanked and it's never really gotten any better since then. Not just the economy, but politics, the media, just the way of American life has just been slowly declining pretty much during my entire adult life, and it's very, it's depressing. But, yeah, like, let's not get into that. I agree, our healthcare system is very scary. I had a, so I guess when you're, to finish that thought, back when Obama was president, you were covered under your parents' health insurance up until the age of 26. So when I was 25, I found out I had a massive, like, really bad sort of health issue that needed to be addressed in the form of surgery. And I had to have that taken care of within a couple of months because I was about to turn 26. And at the point in time when I turned 26, I would no longer have been covered under any insurance, nor was I employed at the time because I had just gotten out of college. I had, like, no job or anything. So, if I had found out about this medical condition just a few months later, I would probably not be here right now, which is a fucking terrifying thing to think about. So I got really, really lucky. I mean, I'm sure we would have probably come up with the money to get the procedure done, but I don't know at what cost. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, there's no way. Like, if we were charged what they charged the insurance company, there's no way we could have afforded that amount of money. So, yeah, America's... It's land of the free. Woo. But I could vent about that forever. And I'm not gonna do that. No venting, Sarah. So I think the holes that attach... Okay, now I have to... Now I get to play the what hole game. Shit. Okay, I can see them. So there's 1, 2, 3... And those are for the arm thing, and that one. So it's this hole, and then these 3 holes. Not that it matters to you, but I have to... You're just like, yeah, Sarah, attach it. I get to attach this using nuts that I got in the mail from my friend Tony, who's usually present sometimes for the streams. He's a shape daddy and my butt technician. He mailed me a giant box of nuts because if there's anything I run out of in my lab, like invariably, it is nuts. Here. I'm not sure if this will help. Is that making it any better or any worse? Come on, light. There we go. It's just kind of creating a point light source and shadows. That's probably better. Here, I'm going to open a few more windows just to see if I can flood a bit more ambient light in here. Be right back. Okay. There we go. Alright, every light in the workroom is open. Not every light, I'm sorry, every window. Let's see if I can... There we go. That's a little better. Oh, it took months to get any handicap benefit. Very terrifying. Let's see. Yeah. As a kid, I couldn't buy a car. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely... Every place in the world has its issues, I guess. Like, I guess nowhere is really perfect. And by all means, like, we do have a lot of nice things in this country. I just think our values are kind of messed up, and because of that, it leads to a lot of shitty decisions getting made that don't really benefit anybody other than rich people. And there's a lot of exploitation in this country due to capitalism sort of being our flavor du jour. And it leaves people feeling shitty. I guess that is all there is to say. But the healthcare thing is definitely a big point of contention right now. Yeah. I don't know. Now you are strong and all nice, which makes definitely your peers around you happy. What you do is... But yeah, I'm doing better now. I was gonna get those nuts, which is why I brought that up. Yeah, one of the things I run out of very often is just M3 nuts. Funny story about that, actually. When I was first getting into assembly, building assemblies and making things in CAD, one of my, I guess I can call him a mentor now, but my boyfriend, my partner at the time, was also someone who created complex things, assemblies, things in CAD, robots, anything. Like, he just made crazy, amazing stuff. And he taught me that one of the best habits to adopt early on was to make everything in one hardware size, if it makes sense. Like, whatever the scale is of your projects, pick, like, metric or imperial, pick M3, M4, M2, whatever makes sense for what you're building, and just stick with that, and then build out one kit that has all the sizes of screws, all the different types of nuts and washers, and just make sure that you keep it well stocked. and if you disassemble something, put the hardware back, sort it out immediately so you don't just have random length hardware lying all over your shop. And it was really good advice. I definitely try to uphold it. But I think him and I go to the same hardware store here in town, and I think that when he does large projects, like he does several different, I guess, kit badge related projects at DEF CON. So every time DEF CON comes around here in Las Vegas, he ends up kitting all these things, and he goes to the hardware store and invariably during the summer will just buy out all of their nuts or all of their washers in the M3 size, because consequently I use M3 kind of because he used M3, and back then when we were working in the same lab, there we go, and I'll do this second. When we worked in the same lab, I just started using M3 because that's what he used. And when you have mentors like that, you kind of adopt their habits. So, alright, I can attach these. And like I said, I gotta do the small one first. Goes there. I guess I can put these on. Oh shit. Nope. I did do that wrong. Bad Sarah. But yeah, anytime I go to, our hardware store is called McFadendale, but anytime we go there and I experience that they're completely out of M3 everything, in my mind, I'm convinced that it's because he has some big project or some kit that he has to, do the kitting thing of. And he just came in one day and bought everything out. So I'll laugh to myself. Of course I don't know this is the case, but it just seems likely. I remember once or twice back in the day, I helped him do the kitting for one of his projects at DEF CON. And I remember putting all of the nuts and screws and pieces and shapes and components into a bag. Or if he builds anything, it doesn't even have to be a kitted project. Like some of the larger, like Tesla coil level caliber things that he's made in the past took a lot of hardware. But yeah, whenever I go there, like if they have 4 or 5 boxes left of nuts, I will buy them all. And they will get used very quickly. Okay, so these do have to go on first, but just the standoffs. Maybe I can't. Oh man, I might be stuck doing it the hard way. Fuck. No. Maybe not. If I take these off. I'm gonna check the... So, how is the weather where everybody else is at in the world? Maybe that's long enough. Maybe it's too long. No. So something slightly shorter than that. I don't know what that would be, so I'm not entirely sure how long this is. I'm gonna check my kit real quick. I will be right back. How's Mark doing?
Good.
Alright. These are 22s. So I need 20s. Do. Sunny and warm. James says it's sunny and warm. It's for the moment sunny right now. Mark, did you check the forecast for today? Is it gonna stay?
I don't know. Didn't it say it was going to rain through Saturday?
I think it was last night it said that.
Something
Weather report changes pretty quickly here. Gotta love that wood smell.
Formaldehyde.
Is that what that is?
I don't know. Probably.
Yay.
It's some form of glue and wood, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure the worst of it's over.
Oh no, Mark. The worst of it's just beginning.
I used to get that.
Mark's like
Catholic school.
behind me. What did they used to do to you?
I don't know. The nuns just like to scare people.
Yeah?
Yep.
What did they tell you in Catholic school, Mark?
They're going to hell.
That's the thing I don't understand about like the religious folk is like if you already know you're going to hell, then why aren't people just doing terrible shit all the time?
Because there's a chance you can go to heaven.
There's a chance. But I mean, wouldn't logically speaking you were like, well, if everything's a sin and everything I do is sinful, then I can either hate myself trying
you need to pray that shit away.
It seems like a shitty existence.
It's a horrible concept for a cult.
It's awful. Are these the right size?
It's like loyalty points to get a discount on a buffet somewhere.
It's a nice way of putting it.
If you just gamble enough, you can get enough for a $7 meal eventually.
Yes, you're right.
That. So it's the same values.
Okay. There they are. Where's the hole? Where's the hole? Mark, let's play the Where's the Hole game. What?
Which hole?
I was telling everybody about how... Wait, what?
The which hole?
Which hole? The witch hole game? Let's fill your witch hole. Shit. I was telling everybody about how I'm gonna be drinking Coca-Cola out of a bottle real soon. Because I'm gonna be on antibiotics.
And the doctor to the vet.
Take me to the vet.
Get a thermometer.
Thermometer.
Put a thermometer inside you for a little bit. See if you have a fever.
No.
Take your pulse.
Okay. I have to put this much on before I can stick it down. Because some of these go in the opposite direction, and if this is bolted down, I can't do that. Bad raptor. Right?
Yep.
Capture nuts. Mark. Capture nut.
Capture nuts.
Can I capture some?
Nuts were meant to be food.
No, some nuts were meant to be captured, Mark. It's true. Just accept it. I have to defeather some of these. Can I... God. Oh, man. Fair 81 degrees, 20% humidity. It's calm. I'm jealous. James, Actually, not really too jealous. It's pretty nice here right now, too. Is it still damp outside?
It's nice today. It's more, like in the air.
Yeah.
It feels humid.
Yeah, we got a shit ton of rain last
hot,
night.
though.
It poured all night. Like, you could audibly hear it hitting the house pretty much the whole evening, which was crazy. Ew, I can hear your tummy growling. Grumbling? No. It's 10 p.m. up here, cloudy, below 60. It's not bad. Everyone's got good weather. It's gonna get really hot here soon. Like really hot. Like within the next 2-3 weeks, it's going to go from feeling like spring-ish to being like you don't want to leave the house ever again. But that's Vegas. That's Vegas. That's how we do it here. I'm bad at things. Mark, why am I so bad at things?
I don't know.
What? I'm just a bird. I'm just a burb.
Somebody made a 2-foot slice of pizza.
Noodle's interested.
It's huge.
Noodle wants to know where he can get his feet.
Pepperoni on it.
Whoa, that's a lot of things to taste. Noodle is very interested in this 3-foot piece of pepperoni.
That's like 1 pepperoni per minute. That's a 6-hour job.
It's a 6-hour pepperoni job. Noodle. Are you gonna pick up my robot parts? That was another thing.
Oh shit. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
So, one of the other robots that I built years ago, along with Noodle, I guess? He was born the same year as Noodle. Is a balancing robot by the name of Carl, who is a pink flamingo, and he is lovingly featured in the background of a lot of my videos and my streams and stuff. And I think Mark and I gave one whack at trying to make a ball balancing robot using this chicken. And Mark, I say me, but like Mark couldn't figure out how to code that shit because it's complicated. It involves math, and I don't do math. And Mark,
three-dimensional math,
real-time three-dimensional balancing math, and we gave up on that real fast. But I after 3 years of just working on Noodle exclusively, I think I'm going to pick up Carl again and just try to make him like a 2-wheel balancing robot. So I'm going to take a stab at it on my own and try and get a simplified version of the Carl bot doing the Carl thing. Excuse me. Wood. Oh man. I am using... Oh, torque? I have no idea. I forgot. I bought the most torquey tiny servos I could get from Pololu. So if you go on Pololu, which is where we get all of our robot stuff, because they're located like 5 minutes from our house. If you go to pololurobotics.com, the not the sub-micro, but the mini servos, the torquiest mini servo that you can buy on that website, I think it's by Feet Tech, I got those, and I tested them out to see if they were in fact torquey enough to do what I'm trying to do, and they were, so I just bought a bunch of them. They worked. Ball math. That's right, Mark, we're doing ball math.
Yeah.
Ball math. Mark says his ball math is a little rusty. Whoa.
Too much information.
Sorry. Okay, so this is the point where I have to stick those threaded spacers in these holes that I was telling you about. Well, yeah, my hair is special today. Look at that. I'm gonna be sad when I take a shower and have to pull that thing down. I have to dismantle that lovely Dr. Seuss-esque figure 8 infinity sign on my head. Mark, look at how perfect this is.
What? Oh, that looks awesome. You look like the character Sunny in a series of unfortunate events.
Hell yeah.
But an adult version.
I'm an adult Sunny, whatever that means. I don't watch.
Half your people probably know what that is.
Okay. I'm a Cindy Lou Who. Okay, I'll be right back. I have to get those standoff things. They're actually what we used in our Delta Robot kits when we did Delta Robots. So I have to get 6 of those and shove them in these holes. And then I can continue. Mark, you should talk about...
I'm getting up to... Where are you going?
I'll be right back. Oh, I'm going to be back in 2 seconds. You don't have to do it.
Okay, hi people.
Just look pretty.
Sarah's making cool stuff today. I'm about to go to the store though, so I'm gonna leave soon and let Sarah keep streaming. Tonight is taco night, because, well, I haven't had those in a while, so, and I make mean tacos. So I'm gonna get all the fixins at the store. Feed the raptor. Yeah.
Mark makes the best tacos.
Are we doing double layer crunch shells?
I mean, why not?
Okay.
We need beans.
I have beans.
Mark makes the best tacos in the entire world. So these things, these. So these, this is gonna be kind of pornographic. These go into that hole like this. And they're hexagonal, so they fit nice and they don't twist. Design. But yeah, Mark makes the best tacos ever. And our friend Matt, who's coming over, suggested one day that we make double-decker tacos, which I had never had before in all of my wild years at Taco Bell. I've never had a double-decker taco. So we did the beans, and he described it. He sold it to us by describing a double-decker taco as the sensation of eating a light bulb wrapped in a wet sock. And we were like, yeah, we need to try that. Wet sock taco light bulb experience. True story. Alright. It gets easier from here, or so they say. Except for Mark. It doesn't get easier for Mark, it just gets easier for everybody else. I love you. Love you. Love. Okay, so these can now screw into this thing from the top and the bottom. Do we have Barrow's Pizza in Vegas? Do we? Barrow's?
I don't know that.
I don't think so. It's from Phoenix. No, Jan, I do not think we have it. Or we might. I don't really eat a lot of pizza, unfortunately. For someone who says the word pizza as much as I do, that's kind of a...
Yeah, she's very disappointing in that aspect. So she'll be like, pizza! And I'm like, yeah, let's get some pizza. She's like, no, I don't want pizza.
I don't like pizza.
But now I want pizza.
No, I think... We have this place called 800 that's... I think it's owned by the Chipotle chain or whatever. And, Is that right? Chipotle.
I believe Chipotle owns that sub branch of food.
It's kind of like the same layout as Chipotle, where you pick your toppings and shit, and they assemble the pizza in front of you, and then they shove it in this like blast furnace. Blast furnace. It's a blast furnace. It's like it's this. Why is this going in there at a weird angle? Oh my god. They put it in like an 800-degree crater, volcano crater, and they cook your pizza in like 30 seconds and then you have it. But they had like this amazing pre-designed pizza on their menu that was called the Angry Bee, and it had like pepper, what's it called? Peppered chutney and honey on it. And it was very spicy in this like delicious pepper, chili oily kind of way. And it had oh, that's the wrong hole. The whole game's hard. I hate when that happens. They had this. It was like the pepper honey pizza. Honey on a pizza is really good. Like honey with cheese in general is like one of the best things in the entire world as far as I'm concerned. Like I think I might have that tonight. Mark got me. They happen to have my favorite cheese at the store, which is this Merlot cheese. It's from Wisconsin. It's nothing exotic, but it's delicious. It's like a Parmesan, like a block of Parmesan.
Cheese.
It's a Merlot Parmesan. It's really good, but it's even better if you consume it with honey. Honey. All right, getting closer. Okay, so now these are going to enter from the bottom. Ooh. Oh, no, those need to be longer. A lot longer. Shit. Ooh. Have to be long enough that they touch, that they reach the standoffs that are embedded in there. Embedded standoff. Pizza. Noodle likes pizza because it's basically like a tactile. It's a texture-centric food. Yeah?
Yeah.
Those are also not the right space. Ugh! Noodle experiences the world with his feet, and he can only experience certain flavors and textures, or like acidity levels and textures. So a pizza is like the ultimate food for him as far as food experiences go, because he can kind of walk on it. Because if you think about it, a pizza is basically like a food carpet. Right, Mark?
Yes.
Crazy bitch. Why is this hole all mangled? No one likes it when their hole gets mangled. gonna check your link. Oh god. $10.46. I think that sounds right. I'm not sure. I'll look it up in a second. It's basically, it's called Feet Tech. I think it's like one of 2 motors that are on their website called Feet Tech, and I think I secretly got them because they were called Feet Tech, because Noodle approves. You can see the title on the little side of the motor there. Feet Tech. It says FT1117M. I don't know if they list that on their site. They probably do. They are those. And they provide, I guess, the right amount of torque without stalling, which works for me. Is that catching? Is that not catching? Not catching. Great. How do I get that out of there? Just this piece of hardware. There we go. It was not long enough. Ah. Let's play the guess which size game. Feet Tech. Noodle says that is the best name for a Servo brand, in his humble opinion. Noodle's like right there. He's like enshrined right now. He's about to get shucked out of his safe little nest, though he just doesn't know it. Walking will happen. Bleh. Noodle. Yes. Feet Tech. We're supposed to get the projection screen up. We're kind of building, sort of, a drive-in in our backyard. We have all the stuff to do it, we just have to actually get everything set up. Like, Mark acquired from work a projector and a projection screen from his friends, so we need to pick a spot in the backyard and do it. And then at least once or twice before it's miserably hot outside, pull up some lawn chairs and watch horror movies on the big screen out back while eating hot dogs or something. See, last year for the Joe Bob Marathon, we did Chicago dogs. You guys like Chicago dogs? Like, it wasn't until very recently that I even knew what that was. Like, I actually lived in Chicago for a year and didn't know what a Chicago dog was and had never had one. But they're delicious. They have their own unique flavor profile that makes them, in my humble opinion, superior to all other hot dogs. Right, Mark?
Yes.
They have sport peppers on them, which are really tasty.
It's a unique hot dog.
Everyone likes a unique hot
It's got
dog.
a lot of acid, or pickled things in it.
It's got a lot of ass. But tonight we are doing double-decker tacos. The delicious taco that tastes like a light bulb wrapped in a wet sock. I'm sorry, it doesn't taste. Mouthfeel. It has the mouthfeel as though you are eating a light bulb wrapped in a wet sock. Which, as you know, is desirable for some reason. They do have a good mouthfeel, though. He was right. There's something very satisfying about biting through a soft, chewy skin into something that crunches.
Crunchable birds.
It's got a good, definitely got a good texture. Oh, my title does not explain what is going on. I don't really know how to title my streams anymore. I'm making wings that have syringes on them, and they assist in sucking on my neck. I literally do not know how to title that, other than I had to do something fancy with this one. I could just say, like, I'm making an assembly, but that's not a descriptive and boring. So it's more like every adjective word that has to do with what I'm doing, and then, like, I state that I'm assembling an assembly, which is weird sounding. I'm assembling an assembly that has syringes and looks like a wing and helps with the neck sucking, the hickey doing. Right, Mark?
What?
What would you title this stream?
The wings of sucking.
The wings of suck.
Wing that sucks.
But that's not what I'm doing. It's not describing what's
This
happening.
is the assembly of the wing syringe
Like, I think that's what
mechanism.
that's what the stream is. I think that's what I literally said. It's like what you just said.
Will it suck?
Will it suck?
The suck of a billion bags.
The suck of a billion bags.
Billion bags. East of a billion bags
What?
is love.
What's that?
I don't know. There was a Futurama mini movie about it, but it's a term.
The beast of a billion throats.
East with a billion backs. Oh, that's a Futurama twist of the original. What is it within? Let's see.
There. It is done. Well, this part's done. Just looks like knives. Throat knives. Now I can put this on here. Okay. Okay. Now I can attach this to the thing. Okay, that's not too bad. I've definitely had worse. Oh man. Are you gonna go run your errands, little one?
Yes,
Yeah. At least the lighting's good. What is everybody else working on? I just assume everybody else has projects out there in the world. Can you reach the nut? I'm playing the Can You Reach the Nut game. Mark's like, oh, I know all about that. He's our taco boy.
Okay, A Beast with a Billion Backs is the Futurama movie.
Okay.
But it's a reference to a 1955 movie called The Beast with a Million Eyes.
Oh.
I was wondering what the reference to.
Ooh, a mini Dalek. That would be cute.
The plot. What is the plot? Yeah, even their poster was a similar
The vintage
look.
horror movie design. Right. Okay. Noodle says you should not go and get Carl's shapes because he wants to continue being an only child. He says if you loved him truly, he says if you loved him, you wouldn't go and get the Carl parts.
Just saying.
He says if you loved him,
we're taking you to counseling.
he says you're gaslighting. He says you're gas.
Well, I'm full of gas. You can hear it when it happens, so
He says
there's no surprise. Ever. I'm gonna go get
lit.
a phone.
Gonna go gaslight
I'm
yourself.
not shopping for a keg today.
Why?
Because I don't like driving around town.
Oh, already got our keg.
Have fun.
Ah,
Do your thing.
I love you.
Enjoy your wings.
They're coming along. Look
Yeah.
at that. They
Endless wings.
look wings.
You should call your stream Endless Wings.
Endless wings. Strawberry wings forever.
Yes, strawberry wings forever.
So now these are going to be put on lowest to tallest order of operations as such. please don't fall. No, do not drop your nut in bed. No. We have ways of making you fit. Good boy. Do as I say. Alright. This next one should only take a while, in that it's going to be difficult to reach those mounting points. But at least they're there, right? I got this cool tube shit that they were advertising on Adafruit last week. They finally got more light pipe in, which they hadn't stocked in a good minute, and I was disappointed in that because I liked the stuff. I used it in some of my other earlier projects. And they started restocking it, and they have high-powered LEDs that have a mounting chuck for the light pipe themselves. And I saw something that worked similar to this at CES one year with Mark, but it involved lasers. And these things don't have lasers, thank God. They just have like 1 watt bright ass LEDs. But they have a I guess a barrel mount that the light pipe chucks into with a set screw, and then it lights up kind of like a neon, and they're really thick. They look like kind of like transparent soba noodles almost. They're like thick with 2 C's piping, and I'm going to use them. I got red and pink, I have to say that. I got a red one and a pink one and some light pipe, and they will be used on this back assembly that I'm putting together right now. I just do not know where yet. I'm thinking I'm going to have them frame the circuit board, or the sun disk as I've been referring to it. So I'm going to create some sort of standoff holder bit that will hold that stuff in a shape around my circuit board. There we go. That's one side. I don't have to go through that whole song and dance with this one because, as you can see, it is already assembled. I'm actually going to turn my face off because there, you can see it better. That's going to go on this side. And I will have a full rack of wings. I mean wings! Oh. Damn. It's awkward. Good thing I had the foresight to put these holes in before I did this one. Blah. The only one that is not is this corner hole. You can't even see it. There should be a hole right here where my finger's moving on this one, but I printed this side of the assembly before I made that modification, so it does not have it. This is the only thing missing, unfortunately. So I'm going to be doing some, doesn't look like I'm doing anything, but I'll illustrate through my mouth words what I'm doing right now. I am doing some finger foo at the moment, where I'm trying like hell to maneuver a nut in place so that I can screw hardware through the bottom up into it. And I got the first one. Oh god. I'm holding it down with my finger while I screw. I got one in place. Okay, it gets a little bit easier from here because at least the two are tacked together. So that wasn't so bad. I guess I probably could have put those on first, but whatever. I remember having an issue with it when I tried to attach it to the old mounting board. It was an unpleasant experience. This one's easy too. Derp. It's not terribly heavy. I honestly don't know how heavy it is. It's probably a couple pounds. Maybe 5. No, it's gotta be less than 5. It's gotta be like 2-3 pounds. And yes, Q-Rock Pot, this is part of the octopus sucker device. This is the thing that creates the suction. It's gonna be worn on the back, and the tubes are going to carry upwards. We're gonna poke out the top of these syringes here and go to the neck. So I'll probably do a stream here in the next few days where I actually route those tubes, but it's probably not going to happen until I at least get the driver board for all of the motors, because there's no use kind of getting ahead of myself. I mean, I suppose I could. Guess it's no reason not to get it done. I'll probably put this thing on and have Mark assist me with the measuring and cutting of the tube lengths. I have this really nice silicone tubing that's kind of blue in color. Oh god. No. Hopefully I get a haircut by then so that my hair isn't getting caught in the suction cups. So I gotta make that appointment. Remove these. Right. That is all of the holes. They have all been plugged. I'm gonna probably bind these up so that they quit catching on stuff. So yeah, that is the rack. The whole rack. Flip this around. Well, actually, let me tie these up and then I'll flip it around so you can see it from different angles. All right. Tuck that in. Maybe that will help a little bit. I don't know. I'm by no means an expert in cord management. Near. Such as it is. There we go. There's a full rack of wangs. Not wangs. Wings. Winguses. So, right here in the center, there is a piece. I'm gonna actually switch down to CAD view again so I can show you what is missing. There we go. So there's this middle piece, this elusive chunk right here. If I zoom in on it, there's actually two separate pieces here. Is this the correct thing? Yes, it is. Cool, I can show you what I mean. So if I turn the wings themselves, the sub-assemblies off, you can see there's the mounting plate, and then there's this darker, like, mounting chucky piece right here. If I turn this off, this piece right here, this is actually a model of a part that I have in real life. This is a mounting part that came with this arm that I bought. I didn't build it, I bought it from a store. It was meant to be used as a lamp, but I'm going to use it as a mechanical stock. It's a bending articulated lamp arm, and this was its mounting plate. So I modeled this in Fusion, and I built this part down here that it chucks into. And there's a shelf on the bottom to sort of hold the weight, and this cavity right here is where I'm going to mount a light, or the lens for a light. So there will be a circular glowing bit directly beneath this. That's not what I wanted to turn back on. Mounting point for the arm. And then this sun disk up here, this is where I'm going to mount the circuit board, which there's a stand-in for right here. The taco board's going to poke up and off that sun disk plate, and I'm probably going to try and route some of that light pipe, that giant transparent Soba light pipe, in a design that outlines this sun bit, probably on the bottom here too. But I'm gonna have to design a separate piece to do that, to actually hold it in place. So until I figure that out, this is kind of what we're looking at. As I mentioned, these assemblies, these holder assemblies, the thing that you're looking at right here, those took about 12 hours a piece to print with the standoffs because they were very vertical. And the Prusa is slow. It's wonderful, but it is slow. And I think this middle piece right here, this mount for the mechanical arm, is actually going to take close to 10 hours. So I'm probably going to set that to print once I'm done doing other things today. So it's probably something I will set to do its job right before we start doing our spooky movies. So if I flip that up and over, you can see that view that I'm showing you in CAD. You are seeing it, right? Yes. Okay. Same thing. Should be able to see both. But that's what you're looking at. And all my tubes are going to attach here. I can actually probably grab the choker real quick and show that to you as well. Actually cracked the lattice. That holds these the other day because it's not printed in the correct material yet, but this is what those syringes are going to be attached to. I have 8 of these suckers finally. They're really nice. I'm not going to handle them though because my hands are covered in whatever this stuff is, this burnt masonite schmegma. So I don't want to get these dirty and covered in soot, carbon. But I will pick them up by the towel, and you can see the hollow middle of each sucker. And that is the airspace that's evacuated out by the plunger, and the lip of these things kind of fastens against the skin and creates a nice little kiss, I guess. This lattice that these things are mounted inside of is going to get reprinted in Ninja Flex. We don't have transparent Ninja Flex yet. I'm going to need to find some and to buy it. For now we have red, So I'm thinking by the time I do any demoing with this device, it will be, the suckers will be mounted in a red choker lattice for a period of time. But it will look like this. This is the design that I decided looks best. This negative space right here that goes around, this actually goes around my throat, that cups the very front of my neck. It works pretty well. Each one of these cups falls on a point of the neck that actually feels pretty good to be sucked on. Just something that I had to kind of do some R&D on, such as it is. And I'm checking the chat right now. I don't use 100% fill on my prints, to answer your question, Nicholas Lee. I think I use 20. So I think the Prusa has a default 20% ratio thing, which, turn my face on, there we go, I'm back. I've been at this for 2 hours. I'm gonna end this here soon, so I'm gonna actually switch this back to me here in a second. But first I'm gonna probably hold this up one last time. Whatever the default print settings are that the Prusa suggests, I tend to stick with those because they do, they work well. It performs well when you let it do what it knows it ought to. I've found it's a good printer. What am I doing? There I am with my hairs. So yeah, this is what I just made. So this is missing, as I just mentioned, a part that goes in the middle, and it's missing the mounting plate that the actual circuit board is going to go onto. I would stand up and put this on, but I'm gonna have to redesign the shoulder hooks as well that mount onto the back part of this. So there are a few holes on the back here that the shoulder hooks mount onto. Actually, a couple of them are missing, which is gonna be a problem. There are 6 holes I can show you on this one, right here at the end. So these actually mount onto these like shoulder hook things, and these kind of go like this on my body. And what they do is they allow me to wear this thing as kind of a backpack, but they also, oh, it's not the right way. Oh yeah, wait, like this, sorry. So they let me wear this thing kind of like a backpack. And what they also do is they hold the plate that all the shit mounts onto at a 90-degree angle, like to the ground, I guess. So everything is going straight up and down on one axis, which is this axis. And that is achieved with that little bit that it kind of readjusts the angle in which this is like attached to. But I'm redesigning these just to make sure that they fit a little bit better. This thing really needs to kind of cling to my chest in order to make sure that the weight on the back doesn't just like yank it off of me. And I'm gonna play around with ways to get this to stick as best as it can. Luckily, this thing doesn't overlap the Shibon backpack. The Pulse, that big old heart-shaped backpack that powers this whole, like, song and dance, it actually sits just below this thing. So right where the backpack begins on top, the very bottom of this plate sets. As of right now, as far as I'm aware, there isn't any major clearance issues. There's no interference, but I haven't actually tested anything yet, so that might change. I need to eat. I still haven't actually put food in my face yet today, which is something I should do. But that is where I'm at. Take this off. I don't know, like in the next couple of days here, I'm probably going to, as I mentioned, fit the tubing from those cups, those marshmallow cups, to these syringes, which means that I'm gonna have to finish the shoulder hooks first, because this is gonna have to actually be held where it's gonna be in order for me to size the tubing. And then I'm going to have to print the lattice in that Ninja Flex so that I can also wear that hands-free and do that whole song and dance. So before I do that, shoulder hooks will be printed and the lattice will be printed in Ninja Flex. Once those two things are satisfied, the tubes will be cut, sized, and attached, and this will be, I guess, capable of docking to that necklace. Luckily, the tips of these syringes, they screw on, so I can easily detach them, so these things won't be permanently connected once I get to that point. But they'll at least be easily connected once they're ready to be put on. And yeah, at that point, the whole system will be ready to receive the circuit boards. So those lovely suction cup marshmallow bits will glow in correspondence with their, whether they're sucking or not sucking, I guess. And the main brain is going to orchestrate all of these motors in correspondence with the sensor, which is, again, a respiratory rate sensor that I'm also developing aside from this. It should also make a good stream, so maybe I'll do that in the near future here. We'll see. But in any case, I don't know, thank you for keeping me company. Thank you for listening to me ramble on and on and on about all the things going on in my life right now. Oh, that's not it. There we go. I'm gonna probably shower here and get ready for the rest of the Friday night adventures that we're going to eventually embark on. And I'm going to wish you guys a good weekend. Like, have fun, do something exciting, don't get into trouble, try a new food, be nice to somebody. I don't know. I sound like mom, don't I? I don't know, enjoy the weekend. And I don't know, thank you for being here. So I'll talk to you later. Take care. And oh, thank you. Thanks. Aw. Thasseus, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the compliment. That means a lot. It's been a hard spring, so thank you. It feels warm and happy to hear that. And I'll thank you, James Driscoll. Have fun. Thanks, guys. Take care. It was good chatting. I'm gonna hit the done button when I find it. So I'm gonna ramble awkwardly until I do. Oh god. Okay. Alright, I'll see you guys. Wait.